right, well, hey, it is 6:30. If people keep coming in, that's great, but we want to honor and respect your time. We know it's a Thursday night. We promised you only 30 minutes, so we just want to go ahead and get started. Before I do, I'm TJ.
And I am Linda.
And we're both with the Paint in the Box team. And then we also, again, are painters. We have a small painting business here in Norfolk called Metcalf Paint, where we're painting every day. So our goal for tonight is simply to just walk you through the different types of brushes and rollers. We're going to look at the different sizes, what they're used for, the different material they're made of, and then just give you recommendations and different things like that. Our goal is to hopefully make it in a way where it's going to make your life easier when it comes to selecting these things. Because I know when I go into a store, if it's Menards or Home Depot or Sherwin-Williams, it's rows full of brushes and roller covers. And as awesome as they are, they're fine print, and it can be hard to understand. So we just want to hopefully make it more or a lot easier to understand. One thing that we already did is we posted in the chat. If you click on the link, it should give you a nice downloadable PDF. It's going to allow you to just look at everything that we're basically going to talk about. So that way, if we're maybe not communicating the best, or maybe you're it's having troubles following along, you should be able to view it right from there. So that's our goal there. Share it with whoever. It's a tool for you. Also, I think the chat's working, so if you have questions or different things, put it in there. We'll try to answer it maybe within the last 5 minutes. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and get started. So, Linda, the first thing I'd probably like to ask is, why would somebody want to use high quality brushes, rollers, and roller covers? What difference do you feel like that makes?
Your project, if you use the higher quality, better quality, for one thing, they last longer if they're taken care of correctly. They will give you a better finished product. I've had a lot of experience through the years because I've been doing this for a long time. And I've seen how the cheaper brushes work. For some things, they're great where you just want to toss them. Maybe you're doing oil or something that isn't so easy to clean. You might want to use something that's inexpensive and then just toss it when you're finished in that. But I don't know. We here at the paint company, we like to use higher quality, and it just gives us a better finished product.
And potentially can even help with the sense of maybe make it faster too.
Yeah. Oh,
so it could save you time and give you a higher quality
yes.
of a finish.
Yeah.
And you can see in the guide, right here we have a lot of Purdy products and some contractor series from Sherwin. We know there's other great brands as well. Wooster is something that's well known. Corona. There's a few more different options there. And you can see within the guide, you can actually click on those and learn more. So we're not even specifically trying to say, hey, we're promoting this exact product of things. This is just what we know, the tools that have given us great result.
Well, and a lot of the paint companies, they do. And I think, is that information in our?
Yep.
Yeah, they will recommend a certain roller, a roller type, a roller nap. The best brush, for instance, which we'll go through, and that's helpful.
Yeah, Sherwin-Williams is so far the best company we've seen in that way of going. You can actually select the paint you want, and they'll tell you this is the brush to use, this is the roller to use, depending on what finish you're looking for. So perfect. First, we're going to go ahead and start off with just talking about brushes, and then we'll try to split it up equally, and then the last half we'll do rollers. So first, let's just talk about the different types of brushes, from angled to flat to touch-up. What kind of different options are people going to see in the store when they go in?
You're going to see a range of sizes, and of course,
I can hold some for you too.
A bigger size. This is sizable. And what we have done is use these for dust brushes. Like, say we go along and we need to clean the trim before, or something that's dusty, maybe we've sanded, we'll use these 3-inch size paintbrushes. Believe it or not, I have at one time used these to cut a ceiling, but then have now gone to a 2.5 brush that's TJ is holding, And these brushes, the straight edge follow, and not all ceiling lines are easy to cut, but as long as you've taken care of your brush, this will follow a cut line or make a nice cutting or trimming line near a ceiling. It gets nice in corners. It gets, as long as you've prepped it correctly with tape, and you know, this will, covered nicely because it's nice and thick.
Yeah, so I'm gonna pause you real quick, Linda. So this would be called what type of brush? A flat
Yeah,
flat
just a
brush?
straight edge.
Straight edge brush.
Yeah.
And the purpose would be, hey, let's use this once you're getting, right before you're getting ready to roll. This would be trimming out along
Right.
all your trim,
Along things.
cutting your
Yep.
ceilings, around your window, doorways, things like
Yep.
that.
Yes.
And
yes.
this is a
Two and a half.
2.5 inch.
2.5 inch.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. This is more your poly brush. Not as firm. You can get different firmness on, and I think it's just a poly once you get different, thickness. And sometimes I like to, these won't leave as much of a brush mark. Like say you're putting a clear sealer, a water-based sealer on a piece of wood, a piece of trim, and this will, to me, leave a little bit smoother finish. It won't be quite as these are great brushes, but they're more for latex paint, for painting walls, in my opinion. This size is nice, and once you get going, this might be comfortable in the very beginning, for cutting or trimming. I guess we call it cutting.
Yep.
Some people call it trimming. When you're going along, you might feel comfortable with this at the first, when you first start painting, and then you may venture up to this size. We use this size, and I have also found sometimes a smaller brush, you don't get as smooth of a line because you stop and start, where this one you can just, it holds a little bit more paint and you can keep carrying it through.
Yep. And
Yeah.
so the angled brushes are just
In
can be used more for
in tight areas.
in tight areas, your detailed areas of
Yeah.
things. And this is a 2-inch
Yep.
brush here, and you can get different sizes in your angleds and your straights or flats from inch to probably up to 3 to 4 inches or so.
And these China, they come in a sash or an angle brush, and they come in different sizes as well.
Yeah.
And you will get to, the more you paint, the more you'll find you like, just because I like this brush and we use this brush, something else might work better for you.
Yeah.
You just have to experiment.
And definitely too with even like holding a brush. Like what's a good recommendation of just starting of place to place fingers or grip that gives good control, or even maybe doesn't cause soreness, tightness, things like that.
Everybody's got a comfort,
Yep.
of how, and if you're left-handed, which I'm not, I'm sure that's going to be a little bit different. You will find too, though, there is also, see the difference in the length. We like, I think they call these like a beaver tail, and we find these a little easier. And sometimes these bump, they can bump into something. This is just a happy size, happy medium size. It doesn't get in the way. It's just easy to hold. It's great when with these little magnetized,
Buckets and
buckets.
liners, yeah.
And it does it, as long as you don't keep your bucket too full, it just sits nicely down in there. And this is my go-to. Corona has a brush similar brushes that's real nice as well.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Real quick, Linda, let's even just talk about, I know she got a little bit into different materials of the brushes. So I know in our guide you have your natural bristle brushes, which are going to be made out of animal hair. That's the most simple way to put it. And then you have your synthetic brushes made out of different material.
These two are more for latex, water-based products, and the ones that are like the China or
the natural hair.
Yes,
yep.
That's more for oils.
Oil based.
Yes.
Yep.
For stains and for oil sealers, say you're staining a piece of wood or some woodwork in your house or a piece of furniture, you want to use that type of brush. and it just lays it out, so it levels out nicely.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So angled brush can be used for the detail portion if needed. If you feel comfortable using this, you sure can. Otherwise, use this for your larger areas, cutting in, trimming out before you roll. Now, let's say you get your wall all painted, everything looks good, but you need a little touch up in some areas. What brushes would you recommend for that, Linda?
We, at our company, we use a lot of detail brushes. We get these, you can get these at any craft store. Hobby Lobby is kind of in our area, so we use those. And the softer the brush, the nicer it fills in. And it just tucks in the little creases if you want to say you can't get into an area on a ceiling because you have textured walls, which a lot of us do. And they just tuck nicely up inside that little crease, and you can just cut along. And, or if you have a tiny little spot that you need to touch up, or like, what would I say? Like, say you just had to fill a hole. You took down a picture and you patched that hole, keeping, the least amount of paint. You might want to grab, one of these little guys and then just kind of dab it.
Yeah, and these are simply like just as if we were in art class. What we use as kids or in high school or whatever, or if you still do art projects. So simply, it's just, hey, we can get a really good control with these little brushes and don't need a lot of paint.
And this one has a nice angle to it.
Yep.
So you can get in, say there's a corner, say there's a bathroom vanity and you cannot get up underneath in a corner or, in a lower part or along a kitchen cabinet. These are great. So just stop, don't fight it with your big brush. Just don't get frustrated. Go grab one of these, and you can even wait until you're completely finished, except for pulling tape, and then dab this, and they work great.
Yeah, and in the guide, all those resources of everything we just showed should be in there. So if you have questions, reach out. We can share. If for some reason links don't work, whatever it may be, we can get you guidance into that. Linda, how would you recommend, say we were to paint with these brushes, how do you recommend, first of all, since they're higher quality, we want to take good care of them. So how do we, in between dry times or coats or whatever, how do you recommend storing them?
Ziploc bag. These are great because they'll just fit right in here. And you might want to make sure that they're laying nicely. You don't have your brush hairs going all over the place. And then seal it tight. And I always kind of fold it over and then lay it down. Don't leave it overnight. I mean, you can, but if you really want to take care of your brushes and make them last, because these are expensive, wash it out every day. If you're not going to paint until the next day, I like to wash them out.
Yeah. And when you wash it out, we just wanted to show you some tools that we have. Within the guide, we have 2 videos. They're actually from our course that you guys could purchase if you'd like. But it's going to teach you how we clean brushes and how to keep that upkeep, store them, and stuff like that. This is just a simple comb using warm water and different things like that.
And you want to get it way down here because that's where everything settles. And just keep working it through and then turn it on your side. And just keep working it back and forth, and it'll get all this, because after a while it starts catching down here and it gets hard. Doesn't mean that it doesn't work anymore, but if you can start practicing this every single time you clean your brush and clean it, you won't get that buildup, like you would if you just left it.
Yep. Because Linda, what's roughly the price on this brush?
$27.
$27.
$17 to $27.
So
on size.
Yeah, and if taken care of properly, how long could this brush last?
It can last for years.
Years.
Yeah.
So even there, you look at maybe you go buy a cheap brush from Menards or whatever. Say that's $9, but you throw it away every time or whatever it may be. You can definitely get a lot more use out of that than
and it's how you store it. You don't want to store it so your brushes are fanned out and you've got wild hairs all over the place. So you want to make sure it's when you wash it that's nice and smooth and everything's laying consistently, just laying out nice.
Yeah. Awesome. Perfect. I think that covers everything in the brushes side of things. We're going to go ahead and move to the rollers. Again, when it comes to rollers, it seems like even on our table here, we've used all of this, and there's a lot of stuff. So let's just go ahead. We're just going to start walking you through from the smallest frame. Actually, let's just talk about the different frames. Let's look at different frame size. What do we got for different frame sizes?
You have
here?
your small roller that is great for when you trim around. You want to follow with this guy because it comes behind and it will cover up all your brush marks. So you can cut in and then you can come behind, and with your preference and type of paint, you can use, you know, and make sure when you're buying your roller handle and your roller cover that you have the correct that go together, because there are some, the older style, depending on, you know, the brand that you're buying, have just this bare rod part, and it won't, of course, you know, that won't fit in there. So these are the wide barrel, and they just pop right back on.
Which is a lot of that on the package. Don't get confused with, you have your nap size and then your core size
Right.
as well to make sure that it's going to fit the correct roller.
Right. This here, this soft woven, this is a 3/8. We use this a lot if we need to go back and do touch-ups at home without, because it holds enough paint, but not so much as it changes the wall texture. When you do touch up, these are great. We don't use these for cutting in a lot. We just use these more for your small projects. And soft wovens are like for instance, this here, this is a 3/4. They don't leave as much splatter. They don't splatter as much, no matter what paint you use. These just don't, they don't hold as much, but they roll nicely. They're a nice roller for certain projects. But now these here, these will make a little bit more of a speckle. They're messier, but they hold a lot of paint. And especially on a smooth wall, these are ideal because they will leave just a tiny little bit of what I call stippling or texture, but not a ton. Depends on how far you go up. You can, they have them from the 1/4 to 3/8 to a 1/2 to a 3/4. 3/4 are heavy. Here's a 3/4 in the white woven, but if you use, hopefully you understand, the 3/4 in this is going to hold a lot more paint. This one will flatten down.
Yeah,
faster.
so I'm gonna jump in here, Linda.
Yep.
So what she's talking about is your naps are obviously your core size stays the same, but your naps is the thickness on the roller. So I mean, you can already see that's a 1/4 and this is the 3/4. Like just look at the difference of how much more material is on the 3/4 versus the 1/4. So the lower the nap, the more for smoother surfaces. The higher the nap, that's for your exterior or rough surfaces.
Right. Concrete block.
Yes.
Say you're painting your basement and you've got the blocks, or you know, the poured block. These are great. Even more so, a little bit the heavier ones, the yellow polyester will get into those crevices a little bit more. These are nice for textured walls. Say you have a light orange peel on your wall. These are great.
And definitely check on, like again, on every package, it's going to tell you what they recommend it for. So that's always the safest thing. If you're questioning, just look at the package and make sure, hey, is this going to be exactly what I'm needing to get the best finish on our walls. So this here, again, just a little 4-inch roller used for more detail cutting in places.
And small trims.
And small trims. Yeah, furniture, smaller furniture, things like that. You can get your different nap sizes from 1/4 all the way up. So that's for every roller we have here.
This is tons of things you can do with this.
Yeah, and especially,
wonderful.
You know, you got your bucket again with your brush. That's just sitting in here like that. And this here, I mean, all in one place, you're able to get everything cut and trimmed out, ready to go before start rolling the walls. Yep. So, okay, let's look at these two here, Linda. What would these two big frames here be used for?
So-
And why is there two of them?
Okay, this is your standard roller. Most of us use this, you know, this covers a wall. Great. I mean, easy to use, easy to maneuver. And you know, once you get done cutting using your small roller, you can come back in and then with your extension and stand, you know, at the floor. And that's what, you know, this would be the most used sized in my opinion.
Which is a 9-inch.
Yes.
9-inch
which is a
roller
9-inch, yeah.
frame is the most common.
These rollers fit on here nicely.
Yep.
And they're easy to put on and to take off.
Yep. Yep. So
Yeah.
all the different sizes of rollers covers we have here, you're going to have two things. You're to fit your different frames. And then also, like, for example, this is a 9-inch. Well, you can see this one's way longer. Well, this is for the 14, or no, this is for an 18-inch.
18, we don't have that.
We don't even
right
have an
now.
18-inch up here yet.
That would
But
be more for this.
here's your 9, here's your 14, and then here's your 18. That's just all your different roller frame sizes.
Just covers
so
more
covers
space.
more.
Mhm.
The larger, when she's saying movability, is you just have to be careful because it can be exhausting depending on how much wall space you're covering, or it can be you got to move quick and or faster or slower, or
It just, you know, this bracket here is a little trickier to use. These are nice though.
yeah,
These, we use this size a lot.
yep.
But
Which is the 14.
But if you don't have a lot of, say your room is just a standard room, I mean, this is a little bit overkill, really. This is just a nice roller to have. And stores nice.
Mhm.
You know, this is kind of more your homeowner
Yep.
in that. This still isn't a bad, say you wanted to paint your garage and you have a 2-car garage or a ceiling. These are great for ceilings, so you're not rolling as long as this one, because rolling a ceiling is not fun.
Yeah.
You know, so the bigger the roller, the nicer it is and the faster you get done.
Also, another thing to think about is getting past your 9-inch roller might require you, if you're using a 14 or 18, to have a bigger tray
Yes.
for you to use as well. So just something to think about if
Yeah.
you're going to purchase those things. So essentially, you know, good for detail work, furniture, things like just smaller things.
Mhm.
Then your most common is your 9-inch. If you have larger, you can use the 14 and go up to an 18 as well. We also covered that, again, your lengths are always going to change depending on the roller frame, but biggest thing to focus on is your roller nap. That's going to determine what finish you're going to get depending on the different, if it's microfiber or soft woven or knit-in or whatever it may be. And then double check your, the smaller the nap size to the larger to make sure you're covering the correct wall, if it's smooth, textured, rough, or whatever it may be.
On the 14-inch, they always come with a little plastic deal on the end. Just throw them away. They come out. So, I mean, don't get it and think, oh my gosh, I don't have the right roller cover. They pop out and we just toss them and then they just slide right on.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Also, we got this little guy here. What is this for, Linda?
That is great for small little touch-ups, or say you have a 2-inch piece of trim, or you got to be careful with them because they can leave a little bit of bubbling.
Because it doesn't hold as much paint. So when you go over it, it can.
They are
cover
nice
up.
for touch-up.
Yeah.
On things, and they wash out. You know, if you don't let the edge dry out, and they're easy to come off. They're inexpensive, but they're handy for a lot of little things.
This material is a foam.
Mhm.
It's foam roller, and typically foam rollers are used for really, really, really smooth surfaces.
Yes,
Correct.
correct. Yes.
So
Yes.
there's your options there. So you know, really, these two are probably your most common.
Yes.
Your 4-inch and then your 9-inch. That's gonna cover a lot of what you need to do.
Mhm.
There's another very important note before you start painting with these roller covers. You want to, the last thing you want to do is be rolling and then lint being get on your walls. And depending on the type of roller cover you use, it shouldn't shed as much. But
a microfiber roller.
But Linda's going to just show you what to do here. And here, I'll even hold this for you if this helps.
Yeah, just kind of.
So all she's doing is taking tape. This is an orange tape we have. You may be able to use your blue painter's tape that you see.
yeah.
Orange it's just got more adhesion on it. That's all it's doing. But she's put it on and then she's taking it off.
Otherwise, you'll get little fuzzies. Now, this one wasn't too bad. You'll get some of these little microfiber pieces will end up on your wall. A lot of times, instead of wrapping it in a spiral, I'll just kind of keep moving it around because it doesn't stick. You know, just so you make sure you cover it.
Yeah, just double check it. Just one extra thing to do to make sure you get high quality results.
It'll pull off a few little fuzzies and it's easier to do that than it is to pick off fuzzies off your wall because it's a little frustrating.
Yeah. Okay, I think we got 5 minutes left. Really quick, Linda, how do we take care of roller covers? What's your thoughts? Do you use these multiple times? Or after they're done, is it best to toss them and just get new ones? What's your thoughts on there?
When you are done with your project, unless you plan on maybe doing another room within a week's time, we toss them. It's really not worth washing, and that even comes from the old timer painters. You know, they just don't. And you don't want to wash all that down sink anyway. It's just not a healthy thing, I guess. But otherwise, take plastic. There's like duck plastic and just roll it up and then tape it really well until maybe you get to that next room. Yeah. And you want to use it again. But otherwise, when you're done, pitch it.
Yeah. And like you said, because we see there's tools and we've used the tools to try to strain the paint. If you want to strain the paint out first to capture the paint, you sure can, but even then you got to be careful because say you're straining out your paint into your gallon or your bucket and lint starts coming off the roller. Or dry paint or whatever, then it's just going to contaminate your paint. So we find, just to ensure that good results all the time, just be done with it after it's been maybe a few days or whatever it may be. So
hopefully though, they've gotten their use. You've painted a room and you've got your use out of it. If you would go, especially if you had a smooth wall and you would reuse a roller that's been washed, it might be not washed the way it should. It might have a hard piece on it, and you will see that when you roll your wall. So it's just, to me, just as easy just to toss it and start fresh.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to come up here and check to see if there's anything in the comments here. Not seeing any questions or anything like that, which is totally fine. Our goal, again, today was just to help give you an idea of, hey, how do you select the right roller and brushes? How do they work, different types? How do we make sense of all these things? So if you have questions, reach out to us. You can find us on our website, paintingthebox.io. On there, we have tons of different resources. You can join our free community where we're sharing tips. You can access our courses from there, tons of different guides and things like that. We also have a box that has all these high quality paint tools in it, ready to go, ready for use, can ship to your door. So some different options there. Otherwise, we were very excited to be here tonight. It was awesome getting to join with you guys. And before we go, just want to say Merry Christmas, and we'll catch you in our next webinar in January. So thank you.
Thank you.